Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. We have a massive scandal that has just been blown open. The U.S. House has dropped a blockbuster report about how the Democrats sicked the FBI against its political enemies. That's right, the Biden cronies had an enemies list, and they weaponized the FBI to engage in an operation that was bigger than the original Spygate. This makes Watergate look like Tinker Toys. This is one of the biggest scandals in U.S. history, and we're going to break this apart. But before we do, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, it's been one scandal after another since Barack Obama was sworn into office in 2009. The FBI has been stacked with dirty cops and rogue agents, and this is yet another damning indictment of an organization that has been corrupted since, well, J. Edgar Hoover. So we have to start asking ourselves if the FBI itself, well, if it is capable of being reformed. Well, thankfully, President Donald Trump was elected again and has put Kash Patel in charge as FBI director, and Attorney General Pam Bondi. They have been doing an admirable job exposing the dirty deeds of the Biden Justice Department. And now we have a bombshell revelation that has come out of the House that it wasn't just 8, 9 GOP senators that the FBI under Biden surveilled. Well, it was also dozens and dozens of Trump allies, 160 Republicans, including sitting congressmen at the time. They were being spied on by the Biden FBI.
Senator Johnson, Senator Grassley just sent this to me a little bit ago while we're on air. It's a major development. You're taking a look at a letter right there that was just sent to the FBI Director Kash Patel and the Attorney General Pam Bondi. What does it say? It says that Congress has obtained evidence that shows that the Biden White House was directly involved in trying to help start Jack Smith's investigation on the January 6th probe against President Trump. Specifically, that the White House counsel's office secretly obtained President Trump's and Vice President Mike Pence's former phones and giving them to the prosecutors, basically sicking the Justice Department on his future competitor, his future rival in the 2024 election, so that they could look for dirt for possible crimes. There's a lot more coming in. There's a lot of other evidence as well of the White House involvement. Remember, 2 years ago, we were the first news agency, right here, Real America's Voice, Just the News, to report that a White House counsel was directly involved with this investigation. Now, more details, including getting, imagine this, you're the Democrat president and you go get the old Republican's phone for your prior president and send it to the Justice Department. That's what Senators Johnson and Grassley were able to confirm tonight. It's in that letter. Keep an eye on justthenews.com. We're going to get you up to speed on that all throughout the night. A lot more development.
This is police state tactic, and it is just another sign that the Biden administration was perhaps one of the most authoritarian regimes in U.S. history. I would say that FDR and Wilson give it a run for the money, but in terms of its spying on political enemies of the Democratic Party and mass censorship and a whole host of other civil rights violations, the Biden regime may go down as one of the dirtiest in American history. Now, this is regarding the latest development in the Arctic frost investigation. This was one that was handled by Jack Smith ultimately. He was handed a lot of this data for his special counsel investigations in regards to the fake electors case in this case right here. Now, this committee that released this report, the House Judiciary Committee under Congressman Jim Jordan, it said that 45 individuals were spied on, including former Trump White House advisor Steve Bannon, and that also includes Congressman Scott Perry, former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, former DOJ official Jeffrey Clark, former Trump attorney John Eastman, and former Representative Mark Meadows. So the GOP-led committee said another 111 individuals, including Peter Navarro, Dan Scavino, Jeff Rosen, and Ed Martin, were also potentially under investigation. They were spied on, according to this report, and it is bigger than Spygate in a couple of ways. First of all, the original Spygate that was green-lighted by Barack Obama, who should be held accountable for his actions, he greenlit the spying on the Trump campaign based in part on the political opposition research that was funded by Hillary Clinton and the DNC. It was a political operation. It interfered in the 2016 election, and it targeted some Trump campaign members, as you might recall, and that also cleared the way for FISA applications that were flawed, such as for Carter Page. But this is much bigger in scope because it sweeps up dozens and dozens of Trump allies. That's right, the Democratic Party, it had an enemies list. This makes Watergate look like child's play, quite frankly. And why don't Democrats ever get held accountable the way that Republicans get held accountable? You might remember Richard Nixon, he was forced to resign because of Watergate. That was a 2-bit break-in and also a setup in some regards. If you look into the details about the plumbers and the cross overlap with the CIA assets that were involved in the Bay of Pigs, etc. But the point is that, well, Hillary Clinton was involved in that hatchet job, and it's very interesting because Richard Nixon was going up against the deep state. They didn't really like it. Apparently he had some dirt on the JFK assassination, ironically enough. And, it's really interesting whenever someone falls out of line, how the deep state mobilizes to make sure they're silenced one way or the other, or they're oppressed. So we really have to be concerned about the state within a state. Does the U.S. have a representative government? I think if you look at public opinion polling versus the way that Washington, D.C. acts, they do not represent the American people on hardly anything. They spend trillions of dollars we don't have. They have engaged in the past in belligerent foreign policy. They've got us enmeshed in foreign relations in ways that are not beneficial to the United States, such as on trade policy. And it's really obvious that we have a cabal within the U.S. government that does not like President Trump very much, or his advisors, and that's why they were targeted. So if you want to talk about truth to power, you want to talk about authoritarianism, that is what the Biden administration did. They were authoritarian. They tried to develop a police state within the United States, and they had plenty of assets because it looks like the police state apparatus, the deep state machinery, it's been there all along. It's just a matter of if the actors in charge are corrupt enough to abuse power. And as we know, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, weigh in with your thoughts. What do you think about this scandal? We really want to see accountability here, obviously. And what does that look like? And I think that's the best question that you can get out of this story. So thank you for watching Explain America.